Hey guys, Unfair here. Welcome back to another episode of Cutting Room Floor. So we need to get to a vent down there. There's actually a couple other things I need to hit first though. The first one is the second quest item.
I know I didn't imagine it. Did you hear anything?
Just have to be a little careful with those guys right there. Don't think they're gonna come out this door.
Leave off. It was nothing.
So we should be okay.
Cargo crew to Sector Alpha. Cargo crew to Alpha.
So the second piece is right in here. And then we should just be able to sneak along here. Just as long as we can avoid all these guys.
Security credentials must be carried at all times.
I'm surprised that guy didn't see us right there.
To produce said credentials by security personnel. Please comply.
Phew, that was close. Alright, now we can go through the vent work. And if we loop around the other side, it should get us into that door where the turret is rotating pretty easily. There is one guy in front of the door, it looks like. No big deal. We'll just drag him out of the way here somewhere safe. Hopefully nobody sees him. And the office we want is right over in this corner over here. Be a little careful, there might be some guys in these halls. And there are definitely cameras all over the place. Alright, this office should do it. The vent should take us into the one that we need. Let's take a look at this computer real quick. I think there's one interesting email in here.
Access granted.
That spam node just bought us enough time. Yeah, this one here. C Company is deployed temporarily to Brisbane, which is Australia. Later to join up with platoons in Cairns, which is also Australia. So it sounds like there's big conflict going on down there. Concerned about the increasing amount of Chinese troops and equipment we're seeing, because the Chinese are interested in Australian oil. So they don't make it incredibly clear on who's fighting who, but there is definitely something going on down there. And we'll actually see something a little bit later that kind of relates to that. Now, this should be the office we wanted. There we go, last piece.
Access granted.
So this email is actually the first reference we'll see to the OCM project, which later in the game is actually known as the Hyron project. And we'll only see one later in the game, but there actually are multiple locations. This email mentions one of the holograph discs, But there are actually 3 in this base that we have to collect if we want to see the entire map. And that shows all the Hyron projects around the globe. So now we should just be able to sneak out of here. And it's just a short hop to that vent for our next quest. If we can make it without being seen. Strangely, I'm not seeing any guys in here at all. Maybe they got called away. Nice. No problems.
That's far enough, Jensen.
You're behind this?
I said that's far enough. I can explain everything if you just stay where you are.
Last time we talked, you used me as a punching bag, and now you want a conversation?
I didn't exactly have a choice. I had to make it look good for Burke. Right now, he still thinks I'm on Bell Tower's side. But the minute he connects me to your escape...
That's your problem, not mine.
Then Dr. Megan Reed really doesn't mean anything to you, does she?
What do you know about Megan?
I know the name set off way too many bells and whistles when I added it to Burke's profile search on you. But it helped me to figure out who you are and why you stowed away on the ship. You think Bell Tower kidnapped her, don't you?
You want to tell me you didn't?
I wish I could. But after what I've seen this past year, all I know for certain is she's not on the base. Not anymore.
What's that supposed to mean?
Not what you're thinking. Listen, Rifleman Bank Station supports all Bell Tower operations in this region, Jensen. Regular contract and special op. 6 months ago, I received orders to pull every regular grade soldier and civilian contractor away from the airstrip. 2 Black Hawk helicopters set down minutes later. I thought it had to do with Australia, especially when I saw covered stretchers coming out.
How many?
5. Guarded by a heavily augmented special ops team. Burke went out to meet the leader and the whole group disappeared inside the detention camp. There's some kind of black project going on in there, Jensen. Something involving prisoners and scientists. And I need you to find out what it is.
The camera is really kind of wonky in this room. I think it's because it's such a small space. I don't know if you saw it, but at one point it actually clipped through his head. Anyway, I'm going to go through almost all the options because she has some pretty interesting things to say on each one.
I'm gonna need more information than that. Tell me about this black project.
I wish I could, but it's been classified. So classified every BT suit I've talked to refuses to even acknowledge its existence.
But you've seen something.
Only the edges. This station is part base, part military stockade, and every week a new shipment of belligerents arrives. Only, Interpol says they're not on anyone's terrorist watch list. Most are just civs. Harmless civs. Burke takes them into a restricted wing of the detention camp, and they just disappear.
I think those are the prostitute pods that we saw earlier.
Why me, Keitner? That is your name, isn't it? The one Burke used back on the ship?
Natanya Keitner, yes. And it has to be you, because any movements I make are noted and logged. I can't risk blowing cover.
Cover? Who are you working for?
A few months ago, an Interpol agent approached me. They've had Bell Tower on their radar for some time, but they've never been able to prove anything. The things that agent pointed out about this base, it opened my eyes to a lot of things. So you see, Jensen, I really am playing the good cop and the bad cop.
Tell me more about these scientists.
Technically, I'm in charge of operations here, so I keep tabs on people coming in and out. Burke keeps meeting with doctors and researchers, telling me it's part of his interrogation technique.
You got any names?
None that I trust, unless the Doe family suddenly expanded into Australia and Asia. Thing is, I don't always see how they leave.
Yet you're sure that Megan did.
The Blackhawks did. Without the stretchers, but loaded with 5 stasis pods this time.
Fine. What do you need me to do?
Hold still for a second.
What the...
Relax. I'm just compiling your biometric signature. Retinal scan, pulmonary and vascular imaging, the works. Once I upload it to the network and give Corporal Alan Tyler a security rating, you'll be able to pass through specific checkpoints in this sector.
Only this sector? Why not others?
Because you're a fugitive, Jensen. The less room I give you to maneuver in, the more likely it is you'll stay one. I can get you into the detention camp, but the interrogation wing is going to be a problem. Only Burke can give clearances for that.
And I assume you don't want me to go ask for one.
Still the comedian. There's a security mainframe inside the detention camp's central command tower. You'll need to upload this copy of your biometrics there by hand. Contact me using your infolink once you do. Any more questions?
The part of the dialogue where she says we're a fugitive and that's why she's not giving us access, that part varies depending on how you play it as well. If you're stealthy, she says you're a fugitive. If not, she says because you're bloodthirsty.
I'd like a little clarification here about you and Burke. I take it he outranks you.
Technically, yes. But this station is only part military stockade. And while he and his unit have 100% control over the detention camp, I have authority over the base.
So I don't need to worry that this is all just some creative attempt at mutiny.
Mutiny? You think I'd risk so much because... Listen close, Jensen. Burke is a sexist, chauvinist pig. And yes, he outranks me. He's also been in Bell Tower a lot longer than me, so he's got more connections. Which he's used to undermine me at every turn. But that is not why you and I are standing here right now. People are getting hurt. Innocent people. And we have to find out why and expose it.
Exposure could destroy Bell Tower.
Bell Tower used to have honor. We do this right, it might again someday.
In that section, you could actually see a lot of her animations are very similar to Malik.
I could use some more hardware. Any chance Corporal Tyler will have access to the armory?
You're still a fugitive, Jensen. I suggest you keep a very low profile. Still, there is someone who might be able to supply you. One of the base mechanics, a civilian named Quinn. He runs a nice sideline in procurement.
I know the type. Why should I trust him?
Because I do, and because he has no love for Burke. He's in the lower level maintenance area near the elevator. He'll get you what you need.
That's all I need to know.
Good. I'll upload to the security network from here, so get going. Alan Tyler will exist by the time you reach the prison security port. Just be careful, and try not to draw too much attention.
So I'm going to turn off this turret. We can actually turn it on the enemies if we want to, but I'd like to keep a low profile for now. And I'm going to head over to see that contact first. He's the one that can use these quest items for us. And he's right down at the end of this hall. And there shouldn't be any security down here, so no reason to worry.
Are you Quinn?
Yeah, that's me. Jensen, is it? You weren't followed, were you?
Not that I'm aware of.
Yeah, I can believe that. They're having a hell of a time keeping up with you.
I intend on keeping it that way.
Well, you've certainly ruffled a few feathers higher up. It's not like they don't know you're here. Stowed away in the ship, I mean. It's only a matter of time before they bring the hammer down, put a stop to your gallivanting on the base. I just hope I'm not near you when the iron's hot and you're on the anvil.
Look, Keitner said you can help me. Can you?
Yeah, she told me to be expecting you. I'm just glad you came as soon as you did instead of going off on your own. There's enough kegs of powder lying around here already without throwing another loose cannon in the mix. You know how much we're risking to keep you off the radar? We've only got so much pull around here. It's Burke's show, and he'll do as he bloody well pleases, which means stamping out any rats the moment he gets wind of them.
I'm grateful, but can we get on with it? I understand you run a nice little sideline in procurement.
Aye. From time to time you might say being inclined to do a little how should we call it? Bartering. On the side. Since the commander signed off on it, I suppose I could open my stock to you. For a price, that is.
You mean I have to pay?
What? Of course you have to bloody well pay. I ain't exactly a fucking armory quartermaster down here. I'm just a civvy contractor trying to make ends meet. This ain't a bleeding charity.
Considering the circumstances.
Circumstances? What, that you're a fugitive and I'm risking my neck just talking to you? What are you trying to pull here? Although, I don't suppose you had anything to do with the stasis pod that was saved back on the ship.
How do you know about that?
Ah, so it was you, eh? Well, let's just say I have my sources and your little random act of kindness didn't go unnoticed. Tell you what, I'll give you a discount on me wares. Just no freebies or handouts. But now that I think of it, if you're looking for a little something for nothing and don't mind a little light work, I've got an errand that could use running. Consider it a special offer of sorts. Interested?
Alright, tell me about this special offer.
Look, I don't know if you've noticed yet, but this base is packing some serious heat. Especially in the form of those walking brick shithouse boxcars. If you get me a few odds and ends, I might be able to whip up a little something to make getting around easier, if you catch my meaning.
What kind of something are we talking about here?
Nothing fancy. Just a 329 series MPRS.
A rocket launcher?
That's right, mate. And custom built. By yours truly, of course. You see, while I might be able to get my fingers on some low-level arms, I'm a little restricted when it comes to military-grade bells and whistles. And I'm itching to try out a new trigger propulsion mix. Maybe even recalibrate the guidance system for some extra punch.
I like the sound of this.
Fucking right, you like the sound of this. It's the bollocks. Look, all you gotta do is find me some components. I'll do the rest. An earlier boat had a shipment of 329s, but I wasn't able to poach any of them before they made it to the armory. Luckily, little Sparrow in my employ managed to lose one through maintenance circulation, but he got himself shit canned before I could collect. Now my little bute's lying around the base somewhere in bloody pieces. The launcher, I mean, not the wee man. Though, I've no idea what really happened to him.
Right, so, long story short, you need me to find the parts and bring them back to you.
Yeah, that about sums it up, I'd say. Just find me the trigger module, scope assembly, and launch a barrel, and we're in business. I could scrape up the rest from leftovers here in the shop.
I think I already found some of the components. Are these them?
Aye. Let me see what you got there. Fucking deadly. That's all of them. Give me a sec with me tools, I'll get them sorted out right and proper. Right then. That'll do you. Anything else I could be helping you with then? No money back guarantee or warranty. You break it, you buy it.
Now, he has some praxis kits we can buy. And we can't quite afford that one, it looks like. So I sold the sniper rifle and the heavy rifle.
Thanks for shopping at Quinn Mart.
And I'm going to sell the rocket launcher as well, since I don't really need it. We'll take a look at it real quick first. So it has a heat targeting system on it, and it's a fully upgraded rocket launcher. So let's go ahead and sell that too. So now we can afford the praxis kit, and that gives us 4 of them.
No refunds.
So I'm going to use these praxis points to buy the social enhancer upgrade. And let's do punch through walls. I'm going to save the last point for now.
Ah, still alive, are you? What can I do for you?
And if we use the social enhancer on Quinn, it should give us access to another part of the shop. You want to make sure you buy the one praxis kit that's already available before you do this though, because using the pheromones basically overwrites the previous shop. So if you buy the one first, you actually have access to 3 praxis kits rather than just 2, or only 1 if you don't use the pheromones. And I believe he's an alpha, so I'm going to go with that.
It's obvious you're not a bell tower sympathizer. So if there's anything more you can do to increase my odds of getting off this base alive, I'd appreciate it.
Because I like you and because seeing you get your arse killed or captured would put a damper on me day, I'll open a special stock to you. It's normally reserved for another client, but As long as you're paying. No money back guarantee or warranty. You break it, you buy it.
And we can only afford one of the praxis kits right now, but there's one if we want to come back later with more money.
Thanks for shopping at Quinn Mart.
So we made out pretty well on that one. Now we need to head toward the detention wing next. I do want to make one stop on the way though. One of those holograph discs I mentioned earlier is actually in a room on the way. The other two are a little bit further in the base, so we'll get those later. There shouldn't be too many guards roaming the hallways, but there are plenty of cameras. I just have to wait here for a second to let this one rotate. Now, detention is actually past this laser grid, but I think by the time we grab the disc we need, we'll be on the other side of this anyway. You have to be a little bit careful because some of these offices are occupied, as is the one to our right here.
Access granted.
At this point it would be really nice to have the see-through walls. I really have no way of telling if this guy is going to be right next to the wall when we punch through.
I've got something.
Nope, no such luck. Honestly, I really didn't even have to break in here. I just kind of wanted to loot the energy bars. And there are a few items you can get through the vent here. It's kind of odd because this vent does not connect to the one in the other room. I guess they just didn't want to make it too easy to get into it. So this would be really helpful if we actually had more battery cells, since there's one of the really big energy jars back here. I've honestly never upgraded my batteries that high though. I'd be interested to know how many people actually upgrade that skill. It just doesn't seem all that useful since the batteries don't actually recharge. And it's pretty rare to find these really big jars throughout the game. I can only think of maybe 2 or 3 other places I've seen them right off the bat.
I'll send him a fucking report.
And the hologram we want is sitting right on the desk next to this guy. So sorry dude, but it's lights out for you. And there we go, we didn't even have to bother with that laser grid. I should note that these are typhoons on the floor. And if you do set off the alarms, they'll pop up and be a lot more dangerous than they are right now.
Activating security scan.